game number 1 was that it's just what's the way to say this other than it's another approach to ultimately the same thing. It's rather than trying to force your way into standard roach, or when we saw Beastie go for Marine Tank ultimately in TVZ twice, but it was a different opening each time. He went for Hellions initially, and then he went for Hellion Banshee in game number 1. I like when people do little small variations, but in the end stick to their own style, because it shows that they're not a one-dimensional player. And Galaxy could just typically throw down 3 hatcheries, go roaches, and just try to overwhelm his opponent. But that he tried to take a different approach. Now, HasuObs play with a lot of intelligence, just like you said. And so we got to give a lot of credit to him. But I want to say that I don't mind the way Galaxy played game number 1.
Okay.
Okay.
I agree with you. It's not enough information. I don't know. It could be very inefficient.
You know what Andre is? Andre's that student that checks none of the above in the test, and even though it's it's not the right answer. He argues for points, just for extra credit. And he's I don't think you deserve to take off points for this.
Well, I'll argue it if I feel differently from it. That's all. Are you really discrediting what I'm saying?
No, I'm just teasing you, man.
I have to, man. I have to think about this critically, because it's Galaxy, to start off the first game, I don't know, it just feels really awkward. And then off of that, he didn't do the most efficient build. I thought going for a quick third base is actually one of the more risky things to do, because you really have no sure way to know if that was going to be a fast expansion or something like a 3-gate into 5-gate cancel nexus, and then you go from there. I felt like he played that very coin flippy. Although you kind of had to, after knowing you were so far behind in the beginning stage, I have to get back into this game. Let me go ahead and just assume he's not going to do that build. But I feel like just starting off like that, taking the initial loss, trying to see if you're more experienced than your opponent with this wonky build, I felt like that's a very weird way to start off a best of 5.
But I guess just because it is a best of 5, Galaxy feels like there's room
have
for
the room
error.
to,
Yeah, you have that flexibility, that wiggle room. And so maybe Galaxy was trying to throw a small thing saying, don't try to read me initially. You don't know how I play. And technically, Hasu still doesn't know how he plays.
That's very true. I mean, I have a very different style than Galaxy. I can tell you that right now, just by how he's made his builds and stuff like that, and the way he takes assumptions. So Galaxy can easily be saying, hey, let me go ahead and do a tricky build right away, and now you have to be afraid of the potential range that I'm capable of. You see me doing a very aggressive build. Now you know for the future, hey, I can be doing an aggressive build. You prepare yourself, play a very standard style. Maybe he takes an economic advantage in that fashion.
All right, let's introduce our players, Andre.
Oh,
we haven't actually done that.
My goodness, I'm so sorry. Go ahead, Frodan, kick us off.
In the bottom left corner, we have from Team MVP Galaxy, a player that's come through the NASL Open Tournament, beating the likes of Dongre, Gu, and Finale, 2 top players in the Korean scene and consequently in the world. Now looking for a spot in the NASL playoffs against this player in the top right in the yellow. It's HasuObs from Team Mouse Sports CC. And Hasu, a guy that we profiled for just being an outstanding citizen and a great player and a great role model. And HasuObs showing that he's also got incredible intelligence and skill.
Yeah, and if you guys don't know the story, HasuObs is known for his consistent rage. He used to be a rageaholic after punching out Bitter and Rotterdam in what can only be known as the coin flip of the century. They actually bet $10,000 in Rochambeau. Bitter didn't want to pay up, and obviously he got very enraged, took out everybody and his computer, and from there was known as the being as mad as HasuObs.
Well, I have heard there's one sentence part of that story that's true, which is
what? Are you calling me a liar?
The as mad as HasuObs.
Are you calling me a liar?
But everyone knows that that Bitter doesn't win. So, but that part is also true as well. We see that Galaxy is going for 2 gases at his natural. Very interesting placement indeed.
Ooh. Pick me.
Okay, Andre.
I love this.
From Galaxy?
From Galaxy. I think you should always put your extractors down here. Because think, what's a lot easier to get into your opponent's base? Or what's a lot easier to see, your natural or your main? Like if a Zealot gets in here. Well, it's going to be your natural. Now, you might say, why are you showing 2 extractors? Well, if you don't show 2 extractors, you know already, the Protoss knows already, hey, he's only on
2 gases.
2 gases. He can't be on anything else. But if he shows the 2 extractors down here, it's like, damn, what is on? Yeah, exactly. What's at the main? Is he going something tricky like, you know, a very fast Spire tech, very fast upgrades, very fast infestors, or is it just absolutely standard?
Galaxy also gets gases 5 and 6.
Yeah, that's sick crazy, man.
That is.
This is exactly what I was talking about.
Very clever.
Income tab 58. He's droning up to 70. He's droning up to 70. Rotterdam, punish this stuff, man. Where are you? Get some Void Rays in here.
Well, Galaxy Galaxy does see the 4-gate and the robotics immediately following is a Twilight Council, and HasuObs does get hallucinations, so this is all indications that Hasu wants to take a 3rd base eventually. And just Turtle while getting good scouting off there. There's a 3rd Nexus being dropped at the 3rd location. So Hasu is going to play this very standard and macro, but Galaxy making 2 Roach Warrens. What is going on here? He's going to go for double upgrades at the same time?
And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, it's exactly what we were talking about in, you know, in the beginning of this game.
This guy, man.
Oh, he didn't go up to 5 and 6. What are you talking about?
I said he got gases 5 and 6, like at the 3rd.
I thought he got his 5th and 6th gas.
No,
I was like,
no,
Jesus,
sorry,
this guy is
I
crazy.
apologize. No.
Yeah, double Roach Warren, which is pretty BA.
Wow, he goes for the 2 upgrades a Roach Warren can provide.
I actually told Sen to do this back in December of 2010. I was like,
when
dude.
He was still playing in GSL?
Yeah, when GSL and he was playing in MLG
he like played Vines,
finals.
right? Or something like that from GSL? Yeah, I remember
I forgot what it was.
And then like Sen held like the most ridiculous 5-6 game on Blistering Sands. I remember that. That was like, so epic.
Sen, listen. Wow. The 2-base timings from Protoss are Imba. You need to go double Roach Warren. You need to do it.
Yeah. It's so funny that he places it right next to each other, and Hasu's like scouted that, and he's just like, wait, what? There's 2 Roach Warrens. And we see dropping research as well from Galaxy. Wow. This is going to be a variation of what Symbol does. Loves dropping roaches all over the map. And, of course, Symbol's style is a phenomenal style to copy just because Symbol, I feel, is one of the best Zergs as well in comparison to Dong Rengu.
I don't know how HasuObs is going to actually beat this.
Yeah,
you know,
he has to be too many places at once.
Yeah. And, you know, I was actually going to say this in a little bit before, but we were talking in the beginning. It was like, oh, Galaxy showed a very, very cheesy game 1. Look at how abusive he's been game 2 after showing, so hey, I'm capable. Yeah, he switched it around. He went like macro cheese instead of micro cheese, right? He went like, I'm going to go this many drones, 70 drones, whatever it is right now, 71 drones. And you know, I'm going to just bank on you not being able to attack because you play so defensive, and then from there I'll just take it in for the win.
It's a great read from Galaxy. Now the big thing is that he's making Hasu believe that he wants to threaten the 3rd, when in reality he's getting his overlords in position all the northern half of the map. This is just going to do so much damage if Hasu's out of position. Does Hasu have any wind of his observers on the roaches? And he says, well, that's not all his army. Hasu has to be suspicious of something because there's only so many roaches there, and there has to be a bigger army somewhere else.
Exactly, and the observer goes over here to the watchtower, and he's like, where the heck is this guy's units? And from here, HasuObs probably suspects, oh, okay, he's macroing from here, taking his 4th base.
Yeah, he's scouting.
I'm done.
He's
I'm done. Stretches his hands.
But the Phoenix, the purpose of it is just to identify where the army is, and he's not going to see the overlords going to the main.
HasuObs cam. Let's go. Right now. And oh my god, now finally a glimpse of it on the mini-map. But he doesn't realize it. Oh my god, he realizes it's so late, and this is not going to be good for HasuObs. The unit's terribly out of position. This Nexus for sure is potentially going to go down. It depends if he actually goes and tries to snipe it, but I think he could do a lot of combination attacks with the roaches on the bottom over here, trying to get in here, but good units and force fields will stop that from happening.
Yeah, Hasu's controlling very nicely these roaches, dropping to the main, just trying to hold that ramp while the Zerglings work onto that Nexus. Galaxy also has a huge force outside the natural, trying to see if he can go for another prong attack.
Beautiful.
The Sentries want to see if they can get the force fields in, and he does manage to lock in some units, but the Sentries are really vulnerable. Follow-up force fields as as well. HasuObs manages to isolate a lot of them, keeping the Immortals alive. The most key part of his army are the Immortals. HasuObs will lose the main,
Look at that, and no observers around, so the Roaches will retreat. And just as you said it, taking out the Nexus is instrumental. Yeah. That is going to push Galaxy way ahead in this game. Income tab showing 70 to 53. Look at that income disparity. That is crazy. A full, what was that, 50% more income?
Yeah, almost everything is almost doubled in that regard. And you can see that Galaxy has been not only doing this, but he's also been teching back at home, getting everything prepared. And what makes it so interesting is that Galaxy he's just been poking at different fronts, trying to draw Hasu's attention away, and Hasu's been holding pretty well. I would say Hasu's been splitting his army very nicely, but just a couple seconds too late, and now trying to split the army. The Roaches are locked in, but Galaxy is more than happy to oblige. As some of the Roaches can take out probes, it's completely fine. At this point, Galaxy now has his infestation pit and his 4th base secured. Now pressing at the natural. HasuObs can't hold for that much longer. Game number 2 is looking more and more in favor of our Korean Zerg to tie it up and send it quickly to game number 3. Yeah. And you can see immediately that HasuObs, his army is pretty much the only supply he has left. He's losing all of his probes practically, and the Immortals that are surviving, but it's just way too many units. Galaxy's still staying really high in supply, while Hasu is pretty much just staying at this while losing more economy.
An insurmountable win right now for Galaxy. There is no composition counter. Units tab shows 2 Immortals. If you want to count a composition counter, you need something like 6, 7, 8 Immortals to actually kill all of these Roaches. Nothing is going to save HasuObs from this at this point.
Another run by at the natural, and HasuObs going to lose a couple sentries. That is going to sting, especially force fields. Just so valuable if you want to deal with these Roaches. Another more clouded position, and just like that is a pretty good example of how this game has gone. Just small little picking here and there from Galaxy, even trying to force field out, but a great burrow and escape from Galaxy, and all of a sudden those force fields are worthless, Andre.
And Galaxy just taking his 5th base. He's already gone ahead and saturated his top left-hand expansion. 74 workers currently against 41. No way out for HasuObs. He needs a miracle. Can't even take back his main base. Right now going for Colossus, so look at his tenacity.
Yeah, HasuObs is one place to never say die at this point until his very last chance has been squeezed out of him. HasuObs stays in the game. A guy that refused to quit. I've seen him stay on with like 4 Stalkers against 20 Marauders and like 20 Marines, and he just stays in the game because HasuObs fights to every last breath possible. And as long as HasuObs has a pretty healthy supply, it's not by any means awful. He's still at 120, which can hypothetically take on a huge amount of Zerg units, but the thing that he has to be worried about is that Galaxy is macroing off of 8 gases freely at this point, and now Galaxy can do whatever he wants, get upgrades, tech, pump out units, even expand even further, and Galaxy is loading up another drop, which Hasu is not in position to defend.
Correct. Now, here's one way. No, he's dead. I was going to say, here's one way the HasuObs can potentially win this. Yeah, the second robotics facility. That's all I was going to say. But yeah, he's pretty dead, Frodan.
HasuObs is going to try to protect whatever he can on the natural. The 3rd is also under heavy siege. Hasu left a lot of sentries there, but he has nothing protecting them, man. There's just too much supply. Galaxy.
Oh, Colossus, no!
Is walking the exact opposite way, trying to act not suspicious whatsoever. Just walking around like nothing to see here, guys. Walks directly over the Roaches.
Oh, no, Colossus!
It's so weak, but it doesn't even really matter. HasuObs calling off his units. Galaxy cleaning up everything. Hasu was trying to expand back into his main. That's something you don't see. 20 minutes in the game, trying to expand back at the spot you started off with. Hasu going to force field everywhere and stay.
These are efficient trades. Not bad, HasuObs. He might actually think about counterattacking at this point, which...
Galaxy has
honestly,
Neuroparasite and
I mean,
a lot of infestors. And Spine Crawlers, that's going to be so hard to attack into.
Spine Crawlers, creep spread. He's teching up to what looks like to be Broodlords. Everything is going his way. Nope, he's still in lair. Excuse me. Wow, was surprised.
Yeah. Galaxy stayed on lair tech for quite some time. In fact, Galaxy doesn't have that strong of an economy. You'd think that he'd be banking at this point, but his economy has been relatively low.
He's down to 61 harvesters because of all those spine crawlers. He was banking so hard, and now all of a sudden it's like, crap, I need more drones. And he doesn't have enough.
He's
oh
making
my
more drones.
goodness.
So that's pretty amusing, but you can see that Hasu has a pretty decent supply count compared to his opponent. Galaxy still has a huge defensive position.
So maybe HasuObs can get back into this game if Galaxy oversteps his boundaries yet again and goes for a very cost-inefficient trade, and all of a sudden, you know, HasuObs is in a position where he has a better army.
It's taken just way too long.
And the Hive Tech being delayed this long is obviously the worst thing that could possibly happen. Oh my goodness.
Well, we can see that HasuObs, a lot depends on how he engages. He has to avoid those Spine Crawlers. Spine Crawlers plus Fungals plus the Neural Parasite on the Colossus means GG for HasuObs. But the big thing is with Spine Crawlers comes immobility from Zerg. The fact that they can't really move away from that position. Granted, it's in the best position possible for Galaxy. HasuObs is going to calmly do this. He's going to expand again. That is just typical HasuObs. Oh, I have a potential opening. I'm going to sit back.
Exactly.
That's pretty much exactly what
Oh my god,
HasuObs.
he's expecting me to attack. That's perfect. Let me take an expansion.
Like, oh man, he left his back open to me. I'm going to back off and plan my next attack.
Well, he wouldn't back off. He would just take a step forward and see if you turned or not. Like, oh, excellent. He didn't actually turn around.
Galaxy now preparing a Baneling Nest. He does have drop, and Baneling drops are extremely efficient against his army as soon as you can remove the sentries. But Hasu, you can almost bet the fact that even if he attacks in here, as soon as he sees the Spine Crawlers, he really has to back off. He can't engage, especially with Fungals and the Broodlords. They're not on the way, but this is a good timing for Hasu if he can take out the rest of it. Oh, he's going to try to see if he can hit from afar. The Colossi under attack from the Corruptors. A huge amount of damage being made from the Corruptors onto the Colossus, and Hasu has to back off. Realizing he can't do anything.
Nice! Takes out the Corruptors. That's exactly what he wants to do. He needs to save those Colossus at all costs, Frodan.
Yeah, he does. And Hasu now has his main base resaturated. +3/+3 started for Galaxy, as well as Baneling speed. A lot of Roaches in production, but I feel like Roaches aren't what he wants.
He wants Zerglings at this point.
He doesn't want the Roaches. He wants something else to be able to handle, but he does have a lot of Infestor energy, and again, Neural Parasites can really throw a wrench into things. Again, it comes down to the very precise control from both players. The Colossus are trying to poke, and HasuObs knows he'd rather wait for a larger army.
I think it should just be Zergling Corruptor at this point. I think these Roaches actually hurt him so much. Look at how many Roaches are out in the field. That is quite substantial. Galaxy has a lot of inefficient
he doesn't have that much supply room for Broodlords either.
That's absolutely correct. And these Stalkers are actually going to be in good timing. Great Fungals on those Stalkers, going to lock them in place. But is it going to be enough, Frodan? I'm not sure. Oh my gosh, the Roaches get shredded to pieces.
HasuObs is losing a lot of his sentries, though. Doesn't have that much force fields left. There's a lot of fungal energy left on the rest of the Zerg units. Galaxy Spike Calls are doing an amazing amount of damage. The Colossus is about to drop as well. A lot of Infested Terrans to clean up the rest of the army. HasuObs engaging without a full maxed army will have to back off, and just like that, a huge supply swing once again.
Oh, wow. And there was a drop into the main, taking those probes out. Additionally, the Nexus will go down. So HasuObs, just like that, losing his 3-base, his 2-base, his almost 1-base economy.
HasuObs now has pretty much no option but to fall back. And yeah, I felt it's just so uncharacteristic of Hasu. He usually waits to the huge mass. If he had 200 and he was just stuck on Roaches, who knows what could have happened, but HasuObs could have felt pressured. He says he doesn't have Broodlords. Why doesn't he have Broodlords? This is a pretty good time to attack. And I think Hasu realizes his doom, calls the GG, and Galaxy takes game number 2, ties up the series 1-1, sending it to a best-of-3.
And that's what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen, with game-to-game strategies. When you show something so extremely opposite from the other game. Game 1, we saw a very big micro build order cheese. Game 2, we see a very big macro cheese. And I shouldn't say it's a cheese, it's just a very big risk. And if you get attacked at all before 70 drones, you're dead. Because you went up to 70 drones.
Well, you know, Galaxy has shown that he can play a psychological game. And you know what? His macro wasn't that bad either, just that he needed better resource intake at that point. Because he wasn't banking enough. His remax was always really weak. He was always beyond Roaches. And his tech timings was kind of weird, too.
I think he was a little surprised that HasuObs stayed in the game for that long.
I think he was trying to play with him at one point. Just because, like, why keep dropping the main when you have an obvious advantage? If he just went for the surround and dropped on his army, surrounded it, anything could have happened. But Galaxy takes the win nonetheless. A lot closer game than we thought it would be, but that's pretty much the kind of series that this is. It's a slugfest. Be prepared for more action in game number 3 as we take a quick break and gather ourselves for game number 3.